Started first. This is good, and my friends are here with me, so they want to say hi as well.
Hi, Jens. Thank you for accepting our interview. I am Adriana.
Good morning, Jens. This is Andy from China. We're very thankful that you help us with our thesis.
Hi, Jens. My name is Mari. I'm from Japan. I heard that you are now in South Korea.
Yes, I'm in Seoul at the moment.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that because, Korea is very close to my country. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been in Japan twice. It's quite nice. I like
Oh,
Japan.
really? Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're 4 people.
Yes, we are
All right. Yeah.
Yes.
So we would like to first hear about your work. What you are doing in your current work, and how would you describe your work in the social innovation field?
Okay. I've been working the last 4 years in Twente. I got a PhD scholarship in Twente, which is ended in December. So all the research I've been doing has been in social innovation. And before Twente, I was working in different areas of sustainable transition, like waste management with plastics and such. So what I do at the moment, I have half a year funding to write articles based on Twente and all the case studies with it. And then what I'm doing here in Korea is just a research visit to a university in advanced design where I'm teaching sustainable design to master students. And then when I return home to Denmark, I'm going to be working in circular economy, sustainable production, and energy transitions and that kind of area. So that's kind of the very short version.
Mm-hmm. So you said you had a scholarship for the transit project, and other than that, what was the reason you decided to join the project? What attracted you?
Well, it's the nature of being academic environment at the time. We all need external financing, so I was working for 2 or 3 years on different European projects at Aalborg University, and then you have to map out your options, which projects are available, where can you get some funding for your next position, right? And then Twente was an option. I had never really worked in social innovation before. It's also a quite new area, but it was not as much as a choice as one of the possibilities. And then it was a quite large project, so there was enough scope within the funding to actually do a PhD as well. Like the cost of a PhD in Denmark is a bit above 2 million kroner. It's the same in Sweden. So it's not easy to get a PhD, and it's changed over the last 10 years that need a lot of external funding. The university might fund a bit of it, but not all of it. So we needed to find a project that could fund it. So that's how I ended up in Twente. I didn't look for social innovation research. It was just one of the options I had, and then I thought it was the best option.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Now, my next question is about the transit project itself. What's your understanding? How would you describe it in general terms?
The project itself?
Yeah.
It's a social science basic research. I would say it's a kind of very exploratory project. We have 12 universities involved. I think we have been 30 to 40 researchers in total that's been kind of employed on the project, and most of them part-time, of course. And most of them are not related, or were not related to social innovation before we started. We were one of 2 or 3 projects on social innovation funded by the European Union at the same time. The other projects were actually within researchers in the field, and we were kind of the outsiders coming in to give, let's say, maybe an alternative bit on how can we actually research innovation. So social innovation was quite a new thing. It was not really conceptualized very well. So the aim of Transit was to actually look with fresh eyes on social innovation to generate some theory, some theoretical understanding on how to actually understand social innovation and how you can actually facilitate or help people who try to do social innovations. Of course, the European Commission paid for the project, wanted to get something out, they want to get specific recommendations. How can you as a policymaker, as politicians, as the bureaucracy, or as academics, how can you actually help social innovation?
We need to talk to the president.
And the idea is a bit that there's so many social problems developing at the moment. Like, well, take the changing demographic of more old people, and you can take many different environmental problems, or the disadvantaged groups in society.
We can go to the toilet.
Have been unapplied for generations, and of course you have the migrants. So there's many different problems for society, and the state can't really solve all of them. So you need active participation by civil society or businesses or other areas.
We need to go to somewhere else. We cannot stay
Social
here.
innovation is one of the.
Let's go to the lab.
Why it's recording? Does it record external
answer
sound?
that challenge.
No, right?
So, and that's where Transit came in. We were one of as number of projects coming with
Christina,
specific
we
bit on
need
how
to go
to
to the
actually
lab.
research it. Yes. Did that answer the question?
Yeah. Thank you. That's really helpful for us to understand, because I mean we read a lot about the project, about the theory and everything related to that, but still, I mean, it was good to hear from one of the authors of the theory. And so our next questions will be about theory, because you are one of the authors.
Yes.
So the first thing is, as you know, we are studying sustainability. How did you place sustainability in the TSI theory?
Oh, well, that's a complicated question, but you have to understand that when you are 30, 40 researchers from 12 universities and very different academic backgrounds, like we have some economists, we have some political science researchers, we have some engineers, we have some cognitive psychologists.
Let's go to the
Of
bathroom.
course, all have very different approaches to studying social innovation. Of course, I and the department I'm sitting at, our field is sustainability. That is what our whole department does, our whole research center. So how did we put it into Transit? There is sustainability in different ways in Transit. If you look at the cases we're studying, most of them are about sustainability in one way or another. Like we have the Enforce Energy movement, we have the eco-villages, which is more about the environmental part of sustainability. And then you have time banking, or you have Via Campesina, and you have other movements which are focusing more on the social part of the sustainability. But social innovation in general is, for the most part, working within the most social side of the sustainability areas. Even if you are talking about the energy movement, or eco-villages, or the seed movement, the things which are related to environmental aspects, then it's still you're working on the politics of the social side of the practice of how could actually live, and how could actually change practice in the way people live, or
You can simply go to the toilet.
in communities, or
No, it's okay. We just unplug. We
what
go
they're
to the
eating.
toilet. Let's go.
So it's covering more or less all aspects of sustainability, but it's focused on the social. And we didn't. The Transit project as a sustainability was not one of
Let's
the
go to the toilet
cornerstones in
because
the,
the noises.
at least not in the start. Of course, we can't analyze kind of the
We can see it.
amount with part of it, but
Yeah. So then, what do you think? How could the TSI theory could help sustainability to that end? How do you think both can be merged, or what are the challenges and the strengths of this?
well, what we generated in 20 is, of course, a lot of material and case studies. 20 case studies, or 20 networks, movements that we studied. And then we have a lot of positions, as that is the theoretical output of the saw. That one of the 5 little deliverables is listing all the propositions. But they are very different in nature. There are 4 different clusters, thematic areas that has kind of structured the final output. And this part of I have worked most with is about the international networking and the development over time of the different cases or different networks. And for instance, the area I worked on, what it actually contributes with is insight into how do you start an international network and what kind of resources international networks actually give to local communities to enable them in whatever they're doing. And this is diverse. We have standards, we have sea movements, we have shareable, we have the solidarity economy in different ways, we have people working with practice in living, we have people working with alternative communities. So it's incredibly diverse in how we're working with sustainability. But especially in my research is actually giving is how do you organize it? How do you actually help these maybe small local initiatives? Like there's hundreds, there's thousands of them, but it's really hard to have an impact on a society, to development, to actually have a change in how society works as a single fab lab down around the corner in your local neighborhood. So how do you actually, as a network, how do you go together? How do you actually, how do you congregate or merge or form a network that can interact with societal institutions? So that is what my 2 propositions worked on in different ways. I tried to analyze and come with practical, relevant advice to policymakers and to these networks themselves. What is the steps? What is which things can be produced to have an effect? And that is only 2 propositions out of more than 20 propositions. And each proposition is then giving a specific insight, a specific and some specific policy advice. So what you also have to understand when you talk about a TSI theory, about the theory that transit has developed, it's not a coherent one theory. It's not like, okay, now we have this model which says something or specific or everything about social innovation. As I said, you have 4 different clusters and each have a range of propositions. So it's many pieces, it's many different theories saying something about something specific. Because the aim has always been to provide specific output. So of course we are not covering everything related to social innovation, but a range of like we could say we have 20 or 21, I don't remember the number of propositions exactly, but we have about 20 specific topics and specific areas we give some advice on. So I can't answer in one single sentence how transit theory helps. If you look at one of like there's different reports explaining the propositions, some better than ours, but some of them are very concise as well, and then you could just look through the 20 propositions and say, okay, what are the 20 specific areas that they contribute? It's not a single specific contribution. It's a range of contributions in different areas. One of them, my area, was on international networking and how networks actually develop and why it actually helps to come together as an organization instead of staying as a local independent initiative. So it's a complicated question to answer.
Yeah.
Is my final answer.
Yeah, we also agree on that with you, you know. So as we read the theory, so there are like 3 different versions on the way to its improvement. So do you think the theory could be further improved? And in what way, you know, how could it be further improved?
Oh yes, so many improvements. We have 3,000 to 4,000 pages of interview data. That is, of course, one problem. And there's so much we have not actually analyzed and dealt with yet. You can probably keep writing articles the next 10 years on it. So, of course, one step is to actually keep analyzing from different perspectives, but also just now we have these 20 propositions, but they're still at a relatively general abstract level. So what we are all doing, all of us which was part of Transit, and I'm still working with some of those colleagues now to take the final output, and then we are writing journal articles on some of the propositions. So we are taking one proposition and then expanding the analysis on it to make it more like what is the actual recommendations we can give to us in a specific situation to actually make it more like when you have this, if you like deliverable 3.4, which is one of the final deliverables, you only have around 4 pages on each proposition, which makes it kind of generalized and abstract. And if you haven't really worked with Transit before, it makes it maybe hard to actually map or paint in your head how it actually would work out in a policy setting, or if you were initiatives, how you can use it in a practical way. So now we are taking some of these propositions and then we are expanding them and giving more specific empirical examples showing how it's actually working in practice, and then maybe applying some different theoretical perspectives that we didn't use in the project. Like right now I'm writing an article based on organizational management science and communication theory to kind of give a more specific advice to, from a management perspective, how to handle such a network. How can it actually develop? Which kind of communication and which kind of tools and other things do you actually use? So that is how we are improving it. And of course, some of these propositions raise new questions. Okay, I mapped some of the resources coming from the international network. That is what we actually provide to the members. But still, if we now have these resources, but how do you specifically use these resources in a specific setting? Take Scandinavia, it's a very different context from Latin America, right? So that is how we generally try to improve the theory. Of course, it's not a final product. There's still like this. Of course, there's been some kind of review of this research while we did it in Transit, but it is not through a peer review like normal research when you do a project. So it's first when you start actually to write articles that you get the peer review and you get feedback from many other scientists. And then the also point doing, okay, we have actually done some research over here, so you engage more with our projects and what they actually had as output or conclusions, which only happens to a lesser degree while you're actually having the project, because it takes 1 to 2 years to write an article and get it published, right? So that time frame is just not very easy to fit within a normal project. So there is actually a quite a long process after a project ends until it actually starts coming into journals with peer reviews and into textbooks and that kind of thing. I'm also part of starting to write a textbook about design studies in Scandinavia, right, where Transfer will of course be part of what will be in that book. So yes.
Yeah, so you're saying this is how we can also make use of the theory for our research, right?
Yes.
Or can you give us more insights about how it can be put into practice or how it can be made use of?
As for you personally, or for a local social innovation or sustainability thing like a Fab Lab, I would say for you to use transit research, you could of course take some of there's a range of publications already, or you can take some of the specific propositions, and of course I don't know who you are. You're doing some field work, I assume, so you're engaging some communities who try to live in a sustainable way, and engaging some companies trying to be sustainable. Then you of course can take some of the propositions and saying, hey, one part is of course to confirm, is this actually how you see the problems, or is this actually how you're working? And or you could make a work, try to engage some of the grassroots movements like eco-villages or co-housing communities or transition towns. I don't know what actually exists in Sweden, because Sweden was not part of our project, but and then try to engage them in a workshop to say, does any of these insights actually, could it help you, or engage with the local city and say, hey, you want to, like most cities in Scandinavia wants to be sustainable in one way or another, so can't they actually use any of the advice coming out of some of these publications for implementing some initiatives in the city?